What's going on, everybody? We're at pit race this weekend. It is the final round of the GLGT championship, and the way the points are shaken out, Hans went all the way out to Laguna Seca, and I didn't think he was going to get 4 wins. So his 4 wins put him 11 points ahead of me right now. DeLucia's a little bit behind, and he's here, but he's got like 30 points to make up. So it's going to be a pretty close race with me and Hans. You know, a lot of stuff can happen during a race weekend. We just went out for practice, did a 52 point something. Going to make a few changes to the car. It was a little bit loose through the S's, so we'll kind of see what we got going on. Try and get the rear a little more planted. But other than that, no huge changes. We'll get what we get, and we got next practice coming up, then qualifying. So no major changes to the car except for the front radiator setup. It was like 2 weeks before we were leaving to come here, and I'm going over the car, and I noticed both sides of my old radiator were kind of like leaking. And it was some radiator I had laying around, left over from a customer car. I put in this car in 2016, and it was a used radiator then. But the fact that I got almost 10 years out of that radiator, the problem was it had like custom tabs welded on it. At this moment, I cannot weld aluminum. So what I ended up doing, this radiator is actually right out of a GT350. So that way in the future, if there's any issues with the radiator, it's just out and in with another one, good to go. The intercooler, it's a little bit of an asymmetric setup. So the intercooler is this part of the grill, and the intercooler is offset. Get out of the way. And then the rest of it is the radiator. Now the car ran really cool that session, but it's also like 55, maybe 60 degrees right now, so you know, kind of expected that one. So since it's first time out with the new system, I'm gonna, you know, check everything over, make a few tweaks on the car. Practice 2 is in a few hours from now. All right, guys, so just got in from practice 2. Didn't bring you guys along. Obviously, it's just practice turning laps. Went almost just about a second faster. I went from a 152.6 to a 151.6. Car felt better. The whole cooling, radiator system, everything seems fine. And that 51.6, I was quickest in that session, but a handful of guys didn't make it out. So I don't want to get like a false, there's a word for that, a false sense of comfort or whatever. I do have new tires to put on the front. If you've been following me, you remember the last race at Lime Rock, the front left like delaminated on me in the downhill. So Falcon was nice enough to send me 2 new tires for the front. The rears will be, I think, 4 or 5 heat cycle tires, so it shouldn't be too much of an imbalance. I mean, that's really it. I just rolled across scales. I'm right about where I should be. No real tweaks. Let's just get out there and kind of drive and see where we land. All right, guys, it's the end of Friday. As you can see, I qualified P2. Happy about that. Behind Christian in the GT4 Supra. Not too upset about that. I'll put up a screenshot of the times, and there's 4 or 5 of us in the 1 minute 50-second range. So the race tomorrow actually should be pretty good. I'm excited for that. With my P2 qualifying, I gained 2 points on Hans. He may have had some issues. I think he qualified like 7th or something. I'm gonna see how the points shake out so I can kind of keep track of them all weekend. So car feels pretty good. Not gonna make any changes. We're gonna go eat dinner before my wife yells at me. She's too far away to hear me say that, but she's gonna watch this video and see it. So yeah, I will see you guys at race 1 tomorrow.
Here we go. Grid Life GT at Pittsburgh International Race Complex, race 1 of 4. Toyota Supra and Ford Mustang on the front row. Green flag, and we're underway here at Pit Race.
Saw Hartman look deep left, chose different, and they are clean into one. Let's see if they can get out of it.
And side by side for a moment, but Hartman drops to 2nd place. Championship battles on the top of your screen. Know that James Houghton is not here. He will not gain any more points, so it's up to Horpedal and Hartman to eat up that differential. Side by side into turn 4, there's DeLucia up the brakes really late on Hartman, not quite overlapped though.
Dives into 3rd place going down the hill, kept it clean and tight racing in the first 3 corners here.
Yeah, coming down towards turn 5 now. Look at how good DeLucia is on the brakes. He found so much speed in practice yesterday. Seems like it's firing off better than AJ Hartman's car, but Arana's gone in that Supra.
Yeah, that car's well sorted and well driven. We've seen Christian go very fast in several series here with us.
Yeah, and Arana is not going to be relevant for the championship fight, so we will be watching the black Mustang and the silver Corvette, but you cannot count out Chris DeLucia. Again, you probably won't see him pop up onto the points in the top 3 this race, but once we kind of dispatch Houghton's advantage, we'll probably see all 3 of those drivers up in the mix.
Yeah, Houghton probably watching us from Canada, spraying oil on cars. His profession. He is. This is the busy season up there at Houghton Rust Control. So sad to not see the. It's a really cool car, the TCR that he was driving this year. They're such a deal.
See that slide for DeLucia coming down the hill.
He is using all of that car.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, the BMW seemed like such a simple build, but that's such a flexible chassis as far as what you can do with it, not how twisty it is. And it's kind of amazing to see what looks like such an attainable HPDE level car go so fast. Really a testament to the setup and the driver in that car, chasing such a monster here.
Arana leads lap 1. Hartman's going to be 2nd and DeLucia 3rd. This is going to be the fight, I think, for now, for 2nd place on the board.
These two are very close in qualifying lap time, and they have raced each other several times this year, earning some trust. And we're seeing Eric Jensen in P4 there, trying to figure out how to go fast with all this frontal aero and all this extra horsepower. He did tell me last night the extra horsepower is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
he's really enjoying it. He said he's in, which and he also he said that there's a whole bunch of V8 friends that are coming. So there's a lot of people that might be in familiar names next year.
Yeah, let's have a look here at braking force on the opening lap for our Fire Laps information. Once again, Fire Laps, the official data provider for Grid Life GT. And on the opening lap, look at this, Chris DeLucia tying AJ Hartman there. Adam Ulrich right behind. Just really cool to see how close everyone is on the opening lap as everyone dives into turn 1.
Yeah, we're seeing 2 very different cars make very similar speed here. It's fun to watch. AJ Hartman probably in a good spot with his Aero package. He has clean air in front of him, clean dense air, especially today.
Yeah, all these cars carrying Fire links, which give us an inside look as to the live data. It's also uploading all their information to their Fire Laps dashboard after the race. They can immediately get tips on how to go quicker based on all the other laps that have ever been run here at Pit Race. It's a really cool system. A lot of the cars are carrying that Fire link and giving us a really cool perspective here in GLGT. A bit of a gain for Hartman on the backside of the racetrack, though.
Yeah, we're seeing the car do very, very well in those really tight but also fast, twisty bits. And I don't know his experience here, but he's driving the car pretty solidly. He's gotten progressively faster throughout the year every time we see him, so you can see he's working on the mental game and the setup game.
And Eric Jensen had David Bamforth all over him, heading into 5 last time around, but he's gained a little ground. There's that battle for 2nd. Last lap, Hartman was about a 1/10.5 quicker. Let's see what it is this time across the stripe. It should be gain Hartman by a little bit more, and that time, 0.2 of a second quicker.
51.4 versus a 51.77.
And again, looking at that fire laps information, the storytelling piece for AJ Hartman should be the cornering force. Let's look at lap 2 cornering force. I'll bet you that Hartman, I'm not going to put my money on it because I've seen this change a little bit, but here, well, I was right, 1.6 Gs for Hartman, and he's the highest cornering force generating car in the field right now.
And down the hill here, it's got to be a lot of fun to have just a tiny bit of extra grip, so grip dependent, and then we'll see Chris probably get back on him in the next couple sections and use that extra braking that he's got. Big angle there, a little bit of angle, at least from the GT4 car. Christian out there just driving right now. All he's got to do is be clean.
Now he does have some experience in this car back at Midwest Festival.
I forgot that he did time attack.
Yeah, he took the rear end off of it and ran it in time attack. Look at this battle for second, though. Hartman getting run down. This isn't an interesting spot, actually, for DeLucia to gain. But this is another battle to keep our eyes on. Hans Horpedal, look at the points, top of the screen. Horpedal has 215 on the season, and he needs a little more. And I think if he gets by Wimble, this will be a pickup. It'll only be worth 1 point, though, if he makes this pass.
A little stronger on the brakes than Gary going into the turn there, but both running clean and tidy lines. They're kind of very identical cars almost at this point. The silver chassis being a recent purchase by Hans. He got rid of his GLTC S2000, and he's been developing this car pretty much since the start of the year.
And he had a little trouble with it earlier in the weekend, if I recall. So
spent a bunch of time in the dyno trying to make it do the noisy things that he wanted it to do. But it was solid at Laguna. He did win the Laguna weekend.
You see the comparison to second place. AJ Hartman last lap around was almost 2 seconds slower. But again, that's the championship battle. So he's got to have to find something. He does have a slight advantage over Hartman. You can see based on the points there. And looks like someone might have gotten around somebody, so he's actually gained that point regardless. Maybe Alex Moss or Zazoulis pulled in.
Yeah, a recent ABS change on that car. I believe him and fellow GLTC competitor Ravi over in Ohio changed that car up, and they've got it stopping pretty well. Gary, I believe, similar brake setup, but right now Hans is using it in the stopping zones.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a challenge, though, for Hans. I mean, he went out to Laguna Seca knowing that he might have a chance to take the championship from Houghton, but with AJ Hartman outperforming him by this big of a gap, that 3-point differential is going to immediately be wiped next race. So, see a point by.
We might have a car problem, unfortunately.
Oh, boy.
This battle here between AJ and Chris has been fun to watch. The cars are so different. They do things differently, but they're making really similar times.
Have a look at
min speeds and max speeds.
But again, just looking at the max speed there, Hartman has the second highest minimum speed, but the slowest top speed. Again, high drag configuration potentially. So I love looking at the fire laps information here that we get from these cars because it gives you such a unique perspective of which cars are making speed where. Adam Ulrich, 23 miles an hour min speed there, so must have had an issue.
Yeah, this onboard telemetry for the live stream is such it feels so special to have this. Thanks to Fire Laps for helping us with it.
Yeah, there's Hans giving that point by there to Adam, and it's probably hard for Adam to see that over the top of the Corvette, but he did get on by nice and smooth.
So hopefully Hans can finish a race here and put himself into a decent spot, but just a little bit too much there for Chris. That's going to slow him going onto the front straight. Climbs the hill, and we'll see what he's got coming for us in the next couple laps. About halfway through here, 7:30 on the time.
Yeah, he's been using a bit more racetrack, leaving 17 and 18 in most of the field. So that was probably bound to happen at some point. But I'm also curious about the sector times for the previous lap because for Ranha and Hartman and DeLucia, I don't know that Ranha's got a Firelink on board, but we should see there Hartman best in Sector 2, DeLucia best in Sector 1. How about Ulrich, though?
Yeah.
Best in Sector 3.
We've seen Adam perform quite well in other classes. When he gets the car under him and he's comfortable, he is no slouch behind the wheel. This is his second time, I believe, in TC. He ran at Autobahn as well, or in GT, he ran at Autobahn as well. But a lot of extra additions to the car for this weekend.
Yeah, and 4/10 better for DeLucia in that first sector, but he lost a lot of that back, half a second worth in Sector 2 to Hartman, so just fun to watch. Looks like Hans, whatever issue he had, it's slowing him down, but it hasn't pulled him off the racetrack. Maybe he's trying to diagnose that?
The car is still moving. That's all we want. We don't want him stuck in a bad spot. We want him driving around, so hopefully the car's under him. And it looks like it's got some speed here, so we'll find out post-race what's going on with that car.
Yeah, just lost one position. You see the points only changed by 1.
This is not a cool-down lap. We're not watching a cool-down lap.
All right, guys, so race 1 is in the books, and I finished second. Super happy about that. Not too worried about Christian in the GT4 car. He kind of just ran away from us. Car felt good. Not really going to do any changes. We did impound. Everything's all good. Nothing much to note. We're getting ready for race 2 later this afternoon.
Well, there's a great look at the water tower here, one of the photogenic items here at Pittsburgh International Race Complex. It's time to go racing for Grid Life GT, race number 2 of 4 on the weekend. Pick your manufacturer alliance. You get real fans of motorsport in here, following Toyota, BMW, Chevy, Ford, whatever, you know, battle du jour is. Honda's in here as well.
Grid Life started by a couple of Honda guys, so there's always a crowd favorite, and hopefully it's that.
Green flag and underway here at Grid Life GT race 2 and championship battle. Look at this. AJ Hartman. Oh, we're going to be 3 wide into turn 1, maybe 4. Lock up there for Hartman down into the first corner, Adam.
Do you know if Hartman's got ABS on that car? I do not think he does. But he does have the downforce. You do have some speed even on the start at that Eric Jensen way up front, right behind AJ Hartman.
Yeah, really strong start for Eric Jensen, and Chris DeLucia is going to try to go up the inside there late into turn 3. Didn't get it stopped.
Some of the better braking we saw last race was Chris DeLucia, but some of the faster min and max speeds was just behind him, a couple cars back by Hans Horpedahl. If he can keep that car together, the problem in the last race was stuck in 4th gear. If he can keep that car together, he's probably got a good chance to make up a few spots here as well.
Yeah, and then again, critically at the top of the screen, there is your championship battle. James Houghton is not here. He is not going to contest this championship any longer. And look at this battle into turn 7. Hans Horpedahl sneaking through David Bamforth. That's critical. He was not very quick earlier in the weekend, and he's 11 points behind Hartman right now. And Hartman, with 1 more pass or 2 more races, is going to easily eclipse James Houghton, put him in the lead of the title.
We'll see what happens here in the next about 12 minutes before we see a white flag. But seen a lot of green to checker racing. We'd love to see more of that. Little dip on the outside left by Jensen, and DeLucia sneaks just by his right side.
Yeah, Jensen left plenty of space there. The model racer maybe left a little too much space, though. Got taken advantage of perhaps by DeLucia. Here comes Horpedahl with a run down the hill into turn 15. Hans in that silver C5 is going to need to outperform Hartman this race, or at least the next 2, by a pretty fair margin to steal this championship title back. He went all the way out to California to rack up some points to hopefully do just that.
Jensen in front of him right now has a little bit lighter car, a little bit less wheel horsepower. We'll see how that affects him going up the hill. He gets a slightly better exit onto the front straight.
Hartman across the line, 2nd place now to Christian Aranja, who's just set sail again. Watch Hans Horpedahl, 230 points, cuts it down from 11 to 8. And now that he's in 5th place, any other position changes are going to start to matter a whole lot more. So
AJ Hartman in a good spot for his car, though. He's in clean air, and all he's got to do is keep his head down. Christian is checking out a little bit, 3 seconds ahead. AJ just has to nail every single turn here.
Look at David Bamforth, almost 135 miles an hour.
Wow.
And the highest min speed of that lap was actually Chris DeLucia, 47 miles an hour at his slowest. Gary Wimble, 44. That was 2nd quick in the min speed section, but that's a fast Porsche.
Yeah.
And how about sector times on the opening lap? Look at Eric Jensen picking up 2 of the quickest sectors.
Pretty solid.
I don't think there's a fire link in the 606, but Jensen and DeLucia certainly do have them. And DeLucia quickest in sector 3, but Eric Jensen, really strong start there in the 184. And how about this speed trap there on that opening lap?
Wow, impressive mile per hour to Bamforth there.
Yeah, just really strong in that 404, looking really good.
Very slippery car, though. That's a car that should have decent top end. It doesn't have big crazy aero. It does have OEM, very smooth lines and underbody, and he's driven the car a lot, so pretty well piloted, I'm sure.
And AJ Hartman again battling up in 2nd place, has the highest cornering force, but not by a lot. Chris DeLucia right there, 1.46 Gs to Hartman's 1.48. Great insights there from Fire Laps. Down into turn 17 here on lap 2. Aranja's gone, but this is the battle for 2nd. Little smoke there. Maybe a tire rub from DeLucia. He is just ripping this M3.
Yeah. You got to be careful. Got to keep the tires under. The GLGT chat had some calls for fresh tires. They're burning them down. So
I don't see where Jensen went. He was 4th. He's dropped down the order a little ways, and we're going to see Horpedahl move up a position here. Right there. Oh, no, not yet. Jensen's dropped somewhere.
Yeah, Jensen might be in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Nice strong start to the race. And we'll drop out of contention. And so will Jeff Zazoulis. But that is another point to Horpedahl. 7 points separate the top 3 of the championship here. And Horpenal is closing on DeLucia and Hartman, and this is going to get really interesting. Last time around, Horpenal ran a 152.807. And that was a little bit slower than DeLucia, but faster than AJ Hartman, and well off of Christian Arano, who just ran a 150.7. That's 3 seconds quicker than anybody else.
Hans trying to meld into this car all year, and he's been getting better and better as long as he keeps the reliability there. Like I said, last race stuck in 4th gear. Obviously, it's looking a lot better than it did, and we'll see if he can keep it together for about the next 9 minutes.
Yeah, through the S's here on the backside of the course. I think, again, as soon as he gets by DeLucia, moves him up into, he's got 16 points now, so this next position will be worth 2 more. That puts him at 233. And then the next position, which will put him second, is a 4-point gain, which will put him right on the heels of Hartman. So
very close.
This is going to be a championship battle all the way to the end.
He has upgraded brakes and several other things since Laguna, and he said to me in between races, in between race weekends, that I don't know if I'll ever have another chance at a championship. I'm going to throw it all on the line. So if he can keep that car together, he might have some fun.
Well, we're going to have a full course yellow here with a couple minutes elapsed. So
see if I can pull up the data of what happened here.
Yeah, maybe does that belong to Jensen perhaps, because he's the only one. Yeah, Eric Jensen's off at 17 there. Adam just on the outside.
Yep, stationary.
So that's going to bring out a yellow. Should be a pretty nice quick retraction here. And we've still got plenty of time left on the board to get a restart, and that plays right into Horpenal's hands here.
Safety truck. It identifies as a truck. So we'll see right now. Let's see what the flag is for us in just a second. What a great shot. Project Prime is doing amazing work here.
Green flag, and it is going to be a green flag.
Straight green, 2 laps at least. They can keep it into clean into turn 1. We'll have some racing. Hans out far right.
Past AJ Hartman for 3rd. And if he can get 2nd place, that would probably be the championship lead.
Looked like David Bamford dips him outside right, but everybody continued clean through 1 and dropping down into the high-speed left-hander here.
And here comes up the inside is that Gary Wimble on Hartman. Tight squeeze down there on the downhill run. Arana leads. DeLucia 2nd, Horpenal 3rd, AJ Hartman. And Gary Wimble popped out there P5.
Big reshuffle here in the restart. We got a couple laps to play with too. This is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah,
a lot of very different cars. A lot of different cars. Alex Moss sticking to the outside left, keeps it together.
And, well, again, Arana with that great restart. DeLucia the 2nd. And again, with Hans Horpenal making that move to 3rd place, and with Hartman dropping to 4th, that's going to switch their spots next time they come back around. Here's Adam Ulrich on the outside of Alex Moss. Really tight squeeze here between the S2 and the Corvette.
Great to see such perfect straight line parity between 2 very different cars, and fun to see. They both race together in TC. Both have a lot of street mod experience as well in similar cars or the same car in Ulrich's case. And Dipsy outside left, big smoke cloud, a lot of dust.
Yeah,
starting to dry out.
Yeah, a little wiggle there for Adam after he got in there a little hot. So
great driving there though.
And gathered it back up.
See what is up front with the Horpendal and DeLucia battle.
Down into 17 here, and
what a fast section right here. My car's out of gear right there.
Ooh, here comes Hartman up the inside of Wimble. This is going to be critical this weekend. It could come down to a single point, and Hartman needs every single one he can get. He's going to get back by Gary Wimble and clear the number 11 across the stripe here, and Wimble's going to cross it back over and steal the spot back, I think, as they come up the front stretch, and Wimble is going to be to the line.
Flag is out.
1 to go. Horpenal takes, well, actually they're tied right now for 2nd in the championship. Wow. And this is the last lap. Christian Arana well out front, but the battle for 3rd, this is the difference between Hartman holding on to 2nd or being P3.
And Hartman with the big Aero cars we talk about, probably a slight disadvantage with somebody in front of him, but he's been driving amazing this weekend, very clean. And but Gary is in a good spot. Right here, maybe a little bit of advantage for the cars behind him versus Gary, but then Gary gets those last 2 straightaways.
Yeah, actually, once they cross the line there, Hartman dropped to 232 points, so that is going to officially swap the lead of the championship if it stays this, or at least the prospective lead of the championship, with Howard still clinging to 238 points in his absence. But Hartman's not giving up just yet. So coming back around to finish their last lap, AJ Hartman trying to poke around on Gary Wimble.
Turn the high speed here, see what happens.
And with big curb jump there on the run to 12. And have a look at this, just as the min-max speeds a moment ago. David Bamforth again, 106 miles an hour for Bamforth. And Hans Horpedal, 133 miles an hour. Again, really quick, but here comes Hartman down the hill on Wimble. Needs to make this pass if he wants to at least cling to Horpedal for second in the title fight going into tomorrow and the end of the race weekend, the end of the season. Here comes Christian Aranja up the hill for the final time. It'll be 2 for 2 for Christian Aranja in the 6:06, and the Thunder Bunny Supra wins both GLGT races here on Saturday.
Chris DeLucia in P2. He'll be chased by Hans Horpedal right there. Hans got the car back underneath of him, feeling good it looks like.
Ooh, Bamforth.
And it looks like we're going to have, yep, Gary. And hard to tell who got that. Probably Hartman.
Yep, by a tenth of
they
a
were
second.
on the line together. We couldn't see quite from that angle.
Yeah, but that will stay P5 for AJ Hartman. Not the race he really needed to keep his championship hunt alive.
But looked like a fun one. That looked like an enjoyable way to spend 2 laps. The fight is part of the reason that we're here.
And here's a look at the run of the line here. Watch David Bamforth pop out, big slipstream here at him. Almost had him.
Catches that draft, and yeah, photo finish is not needed there. Hartman's got it regardless of transponder placement. That is.
All right, guys, so as you saw, that race did not go as expected. Finished 5th. Hans came out of nowhere and finished 3rd, so good for him. I lost 2nd place when I missed 4th going up the hill back in turn 6. That's how DeLucia got me. Then on the restart, I was kind of hoping it was going to stay yellow the whole time. Because being down on power, I know, you know, Hans and some of the other Corvettes, they'll get me in a straightaway, but then I'm kind of, for lack of better phrasing, stuck behind them through, you know, the S's and the turns and stuff. So then Wimble got me. I missed 4th again. I think that's how he got me. 4th, if you've been watching me all season, 4th's been a little bit of an issue for me. So anyway, so after all that shook out, Hans is now ahead of me by, I think, 3 points in the championship. We got 2 more races tomorrow. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be a rain race, race 4. The morning race will be dry. And the grid for that is set on lap times of this race, and Hans did a 52 something. I only got a 53. I don't know, I just didn't get in like the rhythm in those few laps that we had. So I'm going to be starting behind him. So, you know, we'll see how the race shakes out. Oh, so one thing I am going to do, it's a little bit of like disaster plan, because I'm slow in a straight line. I'm going to finally pull the canards off and take a little bit of wing angle out. I got to take a little bit of a guess at it. Kind of only reason is like give me a little bit more mile an hour on the straightaway to try and just keep up with the Corvettes, or, you know, the higher horsepower stuff, because I'm plenty quicker than them in the turns. But if I'm then just stuck behind them and then also slow in the straight, people with more horsepower behind me just kind of then, you know, each lap like one person gets me almost. So yeah, gonna make some changes. I mean, that's really about all I can do. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to just throw like a tune on it like a lot of other guys. So make a few tweaks, get ready for tomorrow. All right, guys, so you can see I'm taking the canards off. I want to trim the wing out a little bit too, but as I'm reaching down behind the bumper to get them, look at all these tire marbles here. I'm gonna pull them out, see how much we get. Here it is. Look at this bag I got. That's probably a good 2 pounds at least of just tire marbles.
And the weather's holding off here, Adam, for GLGT Race 3.
So far, so good. We're seeing the weather basically go north of us, so we're crossing our fingers, crossing our toes, and we'll see how this race goes.
Time to go racing. Grid Life GT Race 3. Christian Aranja's the one to beat, but in the championship fight, it's Horpedal versus Hartman. Mustang versus Corvette. Green flag, and we're underway here at Pittsburgh International Race Complex. Aranja immediately out to the front, but look at 2nd place. Hans Horpedal and Chris DeLucia around the outside, trying to find speed up to the outside of the Supra.
So good look on the left by Hans, and he chose center track. We'll see how that goes, dropping down into 5 here in just a moment.
And into turn 3, A.J. Hartman losing a couple of spots. I really thought that he would be a bit more dominant here this weekend than he has been. Side by side into that turn 3 complex. He holds off David Bamforth for now. We'll show you championship points at the top of the screen as they started the race. Every lap, those calculations will update. And now with the points on the line, it's going to push James Houghton, who's absent here this weekend, off to the bottom of this list.
Kind of unexpected Horpedal as he worked on his car throughout the year, an early purchase early in the year following CMP. He ran TC in CMP in his S2000, sold that, and this has been his project baby throughout the year. Been getting faster and faster, more reliable. Kind of fun to see kind of the dark horse pop out here.
This is not going A.J. Hartman's way. He's lost a spot here to David Bamforth through turn 10. And all the while, looks like Hans Horpedal has moved up to second past Chris DeLucia. So the math is going to get even better in Horpedal's favor next time around.
Just under 14 minutes remaining, and all these drivers do need to get to the checker to have any of this matter. This next race is based on random invert.
Oh boy, side by side in turn 14, A.J. Hartman and David Bamforth. Mustang versus Cayman, side by side. Bamforth cuts the corner there at 15 to try to keep space.
Great driving by Bamforth. He's had a lot of seat time here. He's also running that in track mod in time attack.
Yep.
That car is putting in some work this weekend.
That was a very important pass for Hartman to complete. His car isn't super fast on the straights in comparison to Bamforth, whose car has been one of the quickest in a straight line here this weekend. Hartman's car, though, makes all the speed in the corners with all that A.J. Hartman Aero tacked on the front and back.
Almost seems like there might be a straight line problem with Hartman's car right now. We're seeing Bamforth all over the back of him and a little bit of an advantage in a straight line. There might be a slight mechanical and off with Hartman's car.
Yeah.
Not where we'd expect it to be right now.
No, struggling a little bit. This will be telling. Mid-max speeds on lap 1, and Hartman isn't even in the top 5.
Yeah, there's got to be
telling.
something wrong with that car right now.
Yeah.
I believe he missed a gear in one of the races yesterday per the group chat, but he's still in front of Bamforth trying to hang on to this.
It's interesting, though, that you see the sector times. He's third quickest of the laps on lap 1.
It just doesn't look right to me. I could be very, very much wrong here, but we're kind of used to seeing this car a little bit further up and not having a Porsche all over the back of it.
Yeah, and see, look at this again on the speed trap. Again, not he's P5, but only 126.
Yeah, he might be okay though. You never know. This is it just looks different on the stream, but that data does tell a story.
Yeah, it tells a story that the Corvette's really fast there. And look at the braking force. Chris DeLucia again has been really solid at that. A.J. Hartman's car with that Aero with solid brakes, second on that list. So great insights courtesy of Fire Laps, but here's the telling story with that Aero.
That's what we saw it doing all year long. The car sticks to the ground for sure. But Bamforth kind of unexpected how much grip that car has with such a simple OEM-based aero package.
Yeah, also interesting to note that Bamforth was a negative G, which means that was to the left. Most of the high G corners here are to the right. So Bamforth is pulling a little bit extra somewhere on course as they head down the backstretch towards turn 17. Christian Ranha's out front. Here's the battle for second. This is going to knock Horpedal off of second place, which is going to take a couple points. And he's broken. Hans Horpedal's got a problem at turn 17. This is crucial in the championship standings as the drivers run around him. Horpedal's got a huge problem.
Oh, gets it going again. He's been struggling with the shifter. He's watching his left mirror there. Doesn't want to be in anybody's way. Good heads-up driving by him and everybody else.
And just like that, A.J. Hartman to the top of the championship. And while he's defending from David Bamforth in this fierce battle, it could come down to attrition if Hans Horpedal can't get that car repaired.
Hans quite a ways back now, not within striking distance, even with a perfect car. Unfortunate incident for him.
Yeah, and again, there's still a race left to go, and this is close enough that one race here or there could swap the things around, but there's not enough cars in here to drop you completely out of the points as long as you start a race. But if you don't start a race, you don't earn those points. Yes. So A.J. Hartman's got to keep the car together, and right now with this really intense battle with David Bamforth, I would want to be a little bit careful, but they're having a lot of fun right now.
Yeah, I want to be David Bamforth right now, chasing that big wide Mustang. That seems like, right here especially, these cars doing things very differently, but making the exact same lap time and about mile an hour per the data.
Yeah, and have a look at braking force here again. DeLucia just consistently hammering the brake pedal there. Yep. Ulrich and Wimble and Bamforth all exactly at 1.34 Gs, and AJ Hartman the lightest of the breakers that time. And as far as speeds that time, Bamforth 135. We've seen that car be the quickest in a straight line this weekend, and Hartman still the slowest of the top 5 there, 130.8.
Yeah, this class, you know, when we wrote the rules, we expected to see exactly this because of the aero allowances and the power disparity across different weights. They're making the same lap time, they're just doing it very differently.
And so Hartman now back up onto the podium for now, and as you see at the top of the screen, provisionally takes over the championship lead from Hans Horpedal. And again, I don't know if Horpedal did complete that lap, just 28 seconds back. So we'll see if he comes back around to complete another lap, if he's kept the car moving. That would help him a lot if he could just finish this race. If it was something where he just gets the car back in gear and carries on.
I did see something moving up by the top of 12.
There
He is creeping and crawling. That's not correct. No, that is not the pace we're looking to see. Luckily, he's underway. Hopefully, he can watch those mirrors and get to a safe spot if the blue and yellow does come out.
He's found it again. So it's just like it's missing a gate or something, or getting stuck in between a gear,
or on and off problem, maybe an electrical issue. They were wiring headlights in yesterday, but I doubt they were running it off the bilge pump blower that feeds the driver's face. I doubt that has anything to do with the ECU, but car looks pretty strong going into 17 here.
Yeah, whatever issue it is, it's intermittent. So as long as he's not in anyone's way, Adam, wouldn't you rather just diagnose this now and get it out of the way?
Yeah, let's see if we can get some data. If I were him, you know, if it's working, it's working. And we see it dying here in the front straight again, though. Yeah. Something is up, unfortunately.
He's trying to figure it out all the while. Christian Aranja has just been dominant here. This car actually doesn't really generate all that much power in this trim.
Yep.
But
mid-300s.
Yeah, it is a FIA spec GT4 car, and with that comes a really solid build, and of course a very solid driver. Christian Aranja has run with us in IBOC GLTC, has driven this car before and back at Midwest Festival too, so he's pretty dialed in. Alan Patton's running it in Unlimited, in track battle as well, but cool car.
So in one of the chats, I think it was Alan Patton said Christian Aranja is the best driver I've ever seen. Wow. And as a driver, he's driven SRO, Time Attack with us, some IMSA. That's high praise from the main driver of this car to say that about his buddy.
I ran into them yesterday, and Alan Patton looped this car as we get another look here.
Oh, that was a wild loop in Time Attack. Yeah.
It was, and I talked to Alan about that as we see against the speed traps there on the Fire Labs data about why that happened. He said this car drove terrible. He goes, I have no idea how Christian was driving it because it was a mess. They haven't touched the setup in this trim since Midwest Festival.
Really?
And so he goes, whatever we did at Gingerman does not work here. No. And he said it was just like playing pitch and catch. It was not well.
And we did not see that out of Christian, so he had it underneath him. This Midwest Festival especially, it's more of a polished off surface, and when you put all those people on that facility and it's not raining, it gets dusty. That track gets very, very dusty. So totally different setup from a track like this.
Into turn 3. I don't think we're done yet watching this Bamforth versus Hartman battle, are we? Porsche versus Mustang.
They can speed very differently. Bamforth very good in the long straightaways, but Hartman, obviously, the high G sectors coming up right here.
And this is where Hartman's car really is designed well. I mentioned yesterday and before this event that, you know, Hartman's car, the sort of the general silhouette and the aero configuration and the sound of it reminds me a lot of the GTLM 4 GT.
Big slide from Bamforth, chucking it in.
Yeah, just
keeps it there, but that's not the fast line, unfortunately.
No, he really rings the neck of this car.
Yeah,
he had a couple incidents at Lime Rock Park, just trying so hard to find speed.
I think this is his 4th year driving it with us. We've seen that car many times in a Grid Life false grid.
Oops, that was Bamforth again, dragging a tire into turn 12.
Right.
The curbs end very abruptly on the exits here, so when you go into 12, you kind of expect to be able to ride that curb into the braking, but you can't because it just drops away into the grass.
I'm wondering if Bamforth is throwing that hard, or maybe he's got tires going away very fast. He might have found some cords potentially.
Yeah, these cars are much heavier than what we see in IBOC GLTC, so if you've got only a set or two for the weekend, you're going to be feeling it on Sunday afternoon here.
Yep, the 350, 370 horsepower cars, they're going to use up a tire because they have the corresponding weight.
Gary Wimble kind of running a lonely 5th for the time being. DeLucia 12 seconds back from Aranja, then Hartman a few seconds back from that, and David Bamforth still hunting Mustangs here into turn 1 of this Porsche Cayman. Great sounds out of the Porsche too.
Yeah, fun battle to watch here as they do things so differently. But like we said, that gap isn't stretching a whole lot and it isn't shrinking a whole lot.
I think that twin-turbo V6. For those that aren't familiar with A.J. Hartman's build, it's a really unique sort of mixture of Ford components. It has the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 out of a Ford F-150 EcoBoost, and then it has the independent rear suspension from an S550 Mustang, and obviously the body. Yeah, which is crazy.
Just bolts right on.
That's nuts. And then obviously the new Edge Mustang body. I can't remember what he's got for a transmission. I think it's out of a Shelby or something.
Yeah, I think it's a 6-speed, if I recall. So yeah, a lot of different Fords represented underneath that carbon silhouette.
He's also got, Ford sells electronic ECU sort of thing to run basically any Ford motor. Their Ford Racing sells
a crate engine style package.
Yeah, which is kind of wild because I guess you can get it for basically most Ford stuff.
Yep.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a motorsport oriented
They're
vehicle.
popular engines like a Coyote, a Godzilla, a 3.5 EcoBoost. I think you could even get it for the little 4-cylinder turbos, the EcoBoosts.
Really cool. You just plug it in, turn it on, good to go.
Modern technology. I remember reading Hot Rod magazine when I was younger, and in '96 when OBD2 came out, I remember them talking about how the sky was falling, hot rodding is dead. I don't think there's anything cooler now than the programmability of a modern ECU. Hot rodding is not dead. It's maybe at its peak. You can buy a 700 horsepower car with a warranty.
Adam Ulrich might have had an issue there that last lap around. Actually, he's not even in this race.
Haven't seen him. No, I haven't seen him.
That's still. But here's sector times here. How about this? Sectors split across 3 different cars. Hartman quickest in Sector 2, Bamforth in Sector 3, and Gary Wimble quickest in Sector 1. Pretty interesting. White flag is out. Last lap of this race. Fastest car that time through was David Bamforth again. Maybe no surprise there. 135 miles an hour to Hartman's 130. That seems to be where that car kind of caps out.
Yep, slipperiest Aero probably in the field right now is that Porsche of Bamforth.
Yeah, and Hartman's gotten a little bit easier on the brakes, but DeLucia has not let up.
Just throwing this borrowed car as hard as he can. It's been really fun to watch. Very similar car to his silver E36, S54 powered, kind of a max effort S54, and really well set up chassis, you can see.
So up the back straightaway for the final time. This is a race that's going to put Hartman out in front of the championship, but it's not over yet by any stretch. Only 5 points between them. The difference from first to second is 4 points. Difference from first to third is 7.
If we can get a seat for Hans Horpedahl to sit in and a steering wheel to steer, he might still be in the hunt.
Yeah, and I'm sure whatever is causing him issues now, he'll probably already have a pretty good idea based on his sciencing out here this race.
Hopefully it's not the $18 Amazon headlights he installed just in case of rain, because they were really cool looking. I don't want him to take those off. I want to see those. But
well, there he is.
Still circulating. Car seems like it's on pace, but he's probably going to see the blue flag here with Aranha behind him.
Yeah, and Christian Aranha and this Toyota GR Supra GT4 doing really, really well, driving away. Checkered flag. Win 3 of the weekend for Christian Aranha. Flashing the lights in celebration. Picks up another one here in Grid Life GT. Chris DeLucia in the 62 in that borrowed car is going to come up the hill next. He's a long ways back. But A.J. Hartman, this is going to be a critical point for him this weekend as he crosses the stripe here. 5 points ahead of Hans Horpedahl there in third place in this race, now leading the championship.
Right now, your championship leader. Right in front of us, the Carbon Mustang. Very cool build. If you are on property, you should probably go check it out.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so finished third in that one. You see Hans, he did finish the race. I didn't get a chance to chat with him yet, but it looked like he maybe had some shifting transmission issues like he did in race 1. Future me might put down here, add to it. Let's see. But I had to fight Bamforth in the Porsche super hard. I talked to him after the race. I was like, dude, I'm sorry for racing you as hard as I had to, but every point counts at this point. Hans finished 7th, and with my 3rd, I think I'm now ahead by only like 5. And if you look at the sky behind me, it's almost 100% chance we're gonna have a rain race. We have a 4-spot invert. Since I finished 3rd, I'm gonna be on the front row next to Bamforth, who I just raced super hard. I rather enjoy rain races. What I'm gonna do is put that wing angle back in that I took out, put the canards back on. There's a few little tweaks I can do to kind of make, tires, obviously. There's a few tweaks I can do to make sure, or I don't wanna say make sure, just make the car a little bit better in the rain. But starting on the front row in the rain, you know, pretty good spot to be as far as like mist and spray and everything. I do not have windshield wipers. I just put Rain-X and drive fast enough that hopefully the water kind of sheets off. But I mean, that's really about it. We'll get ready for the rain race and see how we do. So you can see the conditions are pretty crazy. They're going to let us know within a couple of minutes if we're actually going to race or not. Right now I'm 5 points ahead of Hans, so he's probably hoping we do. Not going to lie, part of me is hoping they call it.
Pace car will come in. It is AJ Hartman versus Hans Horpedal in the championship fight, and they will line up nose to tail in the outside lane. Hans knows he has to beat Hartman in this race to go home with the title. Here we go. Lined up on the start-finish line, it's David Bamforth in control of the field as we wait for the green flag to drop. And green flag, we're racing at GLGT, the last race of the weekend.
Dave's car here probably the best suited. He also has the most seat time here in the wet, if I recall. But Hans with a big dive into turn 1 does have ABS on that car. MK60 recently retrofitted, and he has the lead.
And Hans has a lot of wet weather racing experience, perhaps more than AJ Hartman, and takes the lead away. And this is going to change the math quite a bit. You see 271 to 264. I think Hans had, he was still P3 across the start.
We have Bamforth in. He might have missed the wall there. He might have missed the wall. Maybe a kiss.
Tiny touch there. Won't even make a mark on it. He'll get back rolling, but that knocks a couple cars down the order. And Hans Horpedal will have 25 points if he can finish here. He's got to be careful, though. He's going to be the first one experiencing this at speed, and AJ Hartman second. I don't know if that's going to be enough of a point swing. They can't, actually, they did come in 4 points separate, so this is going to end up flipping that back. They're going to be tied.
It's going to be very, very close. The problem with Hans's car before this race, following race 3, was a throttle body error that was been replaced. Took them a little time to figure that out, but they were seeing errors in the ECU. It turns out that was a throttle body, so that is where he's at right now. Hopefully the mechanical gremlins that have haunted this car off and on for the year will go away, but in just a moment we'll see. Hopefully we got Bamforth back with us. I'm not seeing yellow flags anywhere. It looked like if he touched the wall, it was very, very minor.
Yeah, just the slightest little touch there, and Hans Horpedal has a pretty sizable advantage, but now it'll be Hartman versus Horpedal, not only in the race, but in the championship. This is going to be a very slow roll to the championship here, Adam. This is going to be very, very treacherous, but Hans well out in front. You see AJ in the background there, big rooster tail from all that aero.
The bigger wings, the diffusers, the underbody on some of these cars, they're definitely going to throw water a lot higher than some of the other cars we've seen in track battle. We didn't get a wet GLTC race, but it would not have looked like this.
Yeah, and see Hans down.
Look at the difference in Aero. What a crazy tall rooster tail from AJ Hartman's car.
And a little bit, we'll look at some of the fire laps information. Got to let a couple of data points come in here as we cross the start-finish line. But Hans Horpedal takes the lead. Watch the points shuffle, and Hans is going to end up, I think, with 271 points. AJ Hartman comes across the line in second, and that was going to put him right up in the mix with 271 points. We are tied for the season title right now with 11 minutes to go.
We'll have to see, but yeah, everything from this weekend does count. It is your best 10 of the season, correct?
Yeah.
And then everything from this weekend does count, including qualifying points.
Yes, and that qualifying point total is what is tying them right now.
Yep.
We are factoring that in here. So again, this is why you have to do the points audit, because when you're tied like this, you got to make sure you go back through and find every possible place that a calculation could have gone wrong. Here's a look at the fire laps information. Again, some of this is from previous sessions here, and again, we see Horpedal at 73 miles an hour on that first lap. Let's try lap 2 and see if they picked it up at all, because I think that first lap might have been the one under yellow, and yeah, I think that's what's happening there. Get lap 2. I think that first lap was the one under yellow. And there's Chris DeLucia, third in the championship. in the number 62. And here's the speeds here at turn 16. Again, I don't think we've actually had cars trip the timing and scoring there for turn 16. We'll check back in with Fire Labs data in a little bit. But down into the backside of the racetrack, look at Horpedal losing ground here to AJ Hartman. This is going to be a slugfest.
Coming underneath AJ. He's getting a feel for this. We will see. Hopefully Hans has got mechanical gremlins at bay. And, yeah, we might have a battle for the win here.
I think that it's going to be winner take all here because Horpedal, I believe, it goes to wins as the first tiebreaker, doesn't it? So, or actually,
just bonus points of qualifying races are tiebreaker 1, and the best finishing position at Midwest is tiebreaker 2.
Yes, but
for the season.
For the season. Okay, you're looking at it right now. Thank you. So, so that would probably be Horpedal then. That would be in that tiebreaker position. So it's going to come down to whichever one of these cars beats the other, provided they stay first and second.
Yeah. Yeah, for the season, yeah, we do usually have a tiebreaker option there, and as our first original event and our largest event is Midwest Festival, that usually is one of the tiebreakers. But bonus points of qualifying races total throughout the year is our tiebreaker for season points.
Yeah, into lap 2 or lap 3 now, rather. Let's see, Horpedal Hartman closed in a pretty good portion that time. We see the points at the top; they are tied for position.
1.299 behind at the stripe last time by.
Gosh, this has got to be nerve-wracking. And Horpedal is going to likely know his situation. He went all the way out to California to rack up some points to give himself the best chance possible to win the title.
The trip was long, but his car was actually rock solid reliable there. He did really, really well, made a lot of laps, and he was also driver mentor for our wheel-to-wheel series out there. Man, look at the car just kind of biting and biting and biting going down into the belly here.
Yeah, and then clawing his way up. You see the diffuser, how much water is coming out of that. You see David Bamforth, he's dragging a little piece of trim.
Get a smooch on the wall there. That was what, at turn 3 roughly? Turn 2?
Turn 2, top of the hill there. And he's 4th. Jeff Zazoulis currently still scored 5th on the racetrack, but it's going to come down to these two because even DeLucia must have had an off too to be 40 seconds back.
They might have done that with each other. I'm not sure. That was roughly in the same time frame.
Yeah, so about 10 car lengths between them as they come up over the crest. Have a look here at the max speeds. Again, none of these cars in the top 4 are in the race. That's data from the last race, but look at how much it changes the top speed here when you don't have the confidence. That's about 15-mile-an-hour delta from last race to this.
118 in this kind of condition is pretty rowdy.
But look at the min speed, though. Still 41 min speed, which tells me that there's still grip in some of the low-speed corners.
What an interesting track.
Yeah, the braking force, I mean, you're not even going to be touching, again, Horpedal there, just popping on the list, just 1 G. That's almost half a G away from what we saw last race with Ulrich, Wimble, Jensen, and more. And then AJ Hartman with the cornering force there. I'm actually really impressed with 1.3 Gs of cornering force.
Yeah, previously a 1.5 from him. 1.3 is wild in this web.
Yeah, but again, that's the Aero. He's got a little bit more downforce to help combat the conditions here. And throttling up onto the front straight, the rain continues to fall here, and we are past the worst of the weather, but there's still a lot of moisture on the racetrack. We're down under 60 degrees as well, and Horpedal crosses the line. Hartman, kind of same, 1.6 back this time through.
Yeah. About where we had it before. All they need to do is both stay consistent, but this is still anybody's race. We're about halfway through, a little over, and 1 off. This is the championship.
This is crazy that it's come down to just this. Again, the championship here, the best 10 races of a driver's championship, plus all the points at pit race, including qualifying. And after all of that and all the trips across the country and the various racetracks these cars have visited since June, and both of these drivers have amassed 271 points and are sitting tied going into the last 5 minutes of a race at pit race.
Yep, GLGT debuted, for those who didn't know, at our Midwest Festival event, which was early June, and so it was not at CMP, it was not at Road Atlanta with FD. What a great event that was, by the way, but it was not there. So this is, that's why it's only 10 rounds, 10 best races, and then this final round.
And Chris DeLucia, 57 seconds back from Hans Horpedal, who does have the best lap. He did run that last time around at a 205.7, and we were in the mid to low 150s earlier in the weekend.
Yep. That's for the amount of standing water here, I'm pretty impressed. These are not really high horsepower cars, still in the 300 horsepower range.
And there's DeLucia in a borrowed car. That's probably nerve-wracking. Driving a borrowed car up onto the podium. And this is going to achieve what he was hoping to do. He came here knowing that the championship was out of reach, but borrowing the car from Jeff Zazoulis to just try to knock Houghton off the podium for the season. And right now, that he's in that position. I don't even think the only place he can lose is to Zazoulis, so that would knock him off of the podium for the season. I don't think Jeff would do that to him.
Yep. we are probably going to have a little bit of lap traffic scenario with 5 minutes left, roughly. These cars doing out front, they're going as fast as they can. The rest of the cars don't quite have the urgency, and they've got a bit of a gap.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you're seeing these guys lay it on the line. That's not really a lot for Bamforth and Zazoulis to gain, but tons for Horpedal and Hartman to be the inaugural champion of this new series. Same exact gap.
Previous 1.65, and we're at 1.65 second gap here. Still, a second and a half goes by really fast on a racetrack, especially if you go off in deep into this grass and these ruts.
Best lap for both the leaders last time, 202.8 for Hans Horpedal, 202.811 for AJ Hartman. Equally matched and tied in the championship.
This is like 4 times the amount of water that we saw in the wettest time attack class as well.
Yeah, just so much. And just AJ, again, just having the rabbit to chase. Running out of time, I have to say. It's going to maybe take a mistake, or AJ's got to find some more confidence somewhere to dig himself out of this 1.6 second hole. I mean, it's like he's spraying water out the tailpipes.
He's like actually shoveling water up the diffuser. It's pretty wild looking here.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's almost like putting it in a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
At this rate.
I'm positive an Aero builder such as AJ is going to rewatch this from every angle just to see anything he can learn. If you haven't followed his YouTube channel, he's got a lot of very cool Aero bits and some race recaps.
And again, you see the interesting kind of currents coming off the rear wings. And to your point, again, the much higher rooster tail off of the Mustang, showing you how much more work the rear of that car is doing and contributing to the downforce.
Yeah, it's a thicker spray for sure. It's definitely pulling more off of this racetrack. Still pretty high. Look at the efficient Aero in Bamforth's car here too. Very clean OEM based, and but yeah, the Aero on like a homebrew Corvette, still pretty impressive.
Super impressive, and I think Hans, again, using the grip of this car at high speeds too. It's very slippery. The straight line speed, probably not bad. Here's that lap traffic you were talking about. Jeff Zazoulis, I don't think it'll be much of a factor, but depending on where they catch him, it could mix things up.
They might meet him right at turn 1 and say hello. We'll have to see how this goes. Jeff, I'm sure, has great awareness, but this is tough conditions to check that rear view mirror.
Yeah, I think
great job by Jeff getting out of the way here.
Yeah, he'll do just that. I think Horpedal gained some on AJ this lap. Just looks visually larger, the differential.
1 second here.
1.9, 3/10 gain.
Solid, clean lap so far.
I think it's crazy that it's come down all the way to literally, it's going to be the last 2 laps that decide this.
2 minutes from knowing who does this.
Yeah.
Provisionally.
And for Hans, it looked like things were slipping away, all sorts of mechanical issues. What was ailing him in the previous race?
That was a throttle body.
Okay, so.
Yeah, these cars use an electronic OEM-based throttle body, and usually they tune, in TC and in GT, they'll tune with throttle body angle, which is a very common thing. And if they say these cars make 400 horsepower uncorked, wide open throttle, they'll be wide open throttle until they get to their point, and then start scaling that back in order to not have too much of a peak throttle body.
Sounds like this is going to be the final lap from per race control. So coming back around to a checker, and AJ Hartman's running out of chances for Hans to make a mistake, and this is going to come down to a tiebreaker in the opening season.
Do we know who got more qualifying points?
I think it's Hans, I would have to think.
With his performance at Laguna was pretty strong.
I think that was what's going to do it for him, but I don't know off the top of my head because we don't track the qualifying points for the season points otherwise.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting to note.
We might not know by the time of this broadcast.
I don't think we will.
I think we're going to call it a tie and deal with it later.
Yeah, I think we might have to. But here comes Hans Horpedal past David Bamforth. The championship has come down to the wire.
Throwing it through the kink here. That's got to be a wild feeling.
And Hans Horpedal with trouble in race 3 with the throttle body. Things looked like they were slipping away after a trip to California to rack up enough points to hopefully come through with a chance to win a championship. It was slipping away, but we don't know yet. The points are tied. It will come down to a tiebreaker that will have to be analyzed post-race, but Hans Horpedal is going to win race number 4 here in Grid Life GT. Checker flag for the number 77, and AJ Hartman comes through in second place, and you'll note 271 to 271. You couldn't plan that.
That is so ridiculous. Like, I'm a little bit stunned. The opening year of this series, the idea had been bad.
Good season. How damn it.
That's 25.
Dang.
So this is the way it'll finish. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. All right, guys, so that was it for pit. And if you see the live stream, on the live stream, we ended at 271 points apiece. Now, I put that little bit in the beginning because at the end of race 3, I had a 5-point lead over Hans. I watched the live stream, a little bit after it happened. So you got to remember, I'm going into this race 4 in the rain thinking, even if Hans wins, if I get second, I got it by 1 point. So we're out there racing and, hanging on to second, knowing that's all, or at the moment, knowing that's all I needed. I didn't push. I could have pushed harder had I known. I hope that makes sense. So that's probably my big negative of the whole season, is just whatever little points snafu happened, I was unaware of. Now, the guy who does the timing, scoring, all that stuff, did apologize. He saw where it was apparently double counting qualifying points, and that was a whole nother thing. Qualifying points were supposed to count, but the way you read the rules, did it count throughout the whole season? Because if it did, I would have had a net positive like 4 points over Hans, but they only counted qualifying points at pit, so a couple of these like question marks and funny numbers and stuff kind of stinks a little bit. Now, on to the positive. The season as a whole was awesome. GLGT, a lot of fun. Awesome group of guys. I haven't had this much fun racing in probably since like 2019. So at least like 5 years now. Definitely going to be back next season. Car's already working on some new stuff. The car ran pretty rock solid all season. Aside from Lime Rock when my front left tire delaminated, which, funny enough, if that didn't happen, I would have won the championship because I got I think a DNF, and Hans got second. I would have gotten a second, he would have gotten a third, and it would have been a 3-point swing. So, a bunch of shoulda, woulda, couldas. I'll be back next season. Definitely going to do something with the transmission. 4th gear has been killing me in this thing. Got some other stuff, top secret. I think that's about it. Don't want this outro to drag on too long. Thanks for hanging out. I know this has been a long video, but definitely to see the breakdown of how the whole weekend went, of gaining points on Hans, losing them, gaining them back. It was exciting for sure. Congrats to Hans. I don't know if you watch these or you're going to watch this late in the video. Yeah, that's where we're going to call it. As always, guys, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.